Welcome to We Are One in Spirit podcast. I'm your host, Yvonne Perry. My guest today is my friend, Daphne McIntosh. She's a registered nurse working on the mother, baby, and NICU floor of a local community hospital. She's a Reiki Master practicing the healing art for over 18 years. Daphne teaches Kundalini yoga as well as Nidra yoga and is certified in both. Currently, Daphne is going to school for her RN to BSN at Western Governors University and working through Dr. Aviva Romm's premier Herbal Medicine for Women online program. Daphne practiced for 9 years as a certified professional midwife. She is a published author as well. With her passion for working with women and children, she exudes intuition and compassion throughout her work. Her clients come away from sessions feeling cared for and heard. Daphne is a mother of 5 with one in heaven. A proud Maine Coon mama and married since 2004. She enjoys reading, cooking, traveling. In fact, she lived in an RV with her family for 3 years as she traveled the U.S. She's a lifelong learner, and I think that you will really enjoy what she has to say today. So please help me welcome Daphne McIntosh. So welcome to the show, Daphne. Why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about what you're doing this holiday season to simplify your life?
Yes. Hi, Yvonne. I'm so happy to be on here. I just love all your information that you share, and I think that goes well with what I'd like to share too.
Oh, cool.
Just bringing love and light to the world, and it can go either way between your emotional and physical and mental. All goes into that package. And, with the holidays coming up, a lot of people are focusing on all those packages, and we don't focus on the rest of ourselves.
Our own personal package.
Yes, exactly. And I know it's fun to purchase lots of presents and make everything fun during the holidays, but also that doesn't bring us joy for the rest of the year. Many times when we purchase a lot of stuff, we take that focus off of ourselves again and onto those physical stuff. And so I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my journey, simplifying my life and focusing on things that really truly matter and bring love and light to myself, my family, and to others in this world.
Yeah. So I know that you have been on a path of simplicity for a while. Tell us a little bit about your journeys with being in an RV, you and your husband and 3 kids, and traveling. You really had to downsize to get to that point of simplicity. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, definitely. Well, a few years ago, we were living in a 4,500 square foot house, so quite a large size, and with 3 kids, a dog, and a cat. And then I had a very young child. She was only a year old. My husband was traveling all week, and we were stuck in this huge house. Very nice, but we were spending all our time upkeeping the home. And when my husband would come back home on the weekends, that's all we would do, yard work, housework. And we never were really together as a family. And I started thinking, well, there must be something more to just keeping a house.
Yeah.
There must be something more than just we enjoyed making our home, a family home and lovely and all that, but I wanted the more focus on life itself and our journey. And I started getting into minimalism a little bit, and I love the philosophy of it. And there's, like anything, there's extremes of everything. So when some people search minimalism, they might be a little put off by it. And it's not what makes you happy. Kind of like what Marie Kondo, some people are familiar with her. This was a little bit before she became popular, so there wasn't a whole lot about her, but I like her philosophy with that minimalism, that what brings you joy, what sparks you joy is what I like to do and bring into my life, and that's what I wanted to bring into my life. So it was a long process. It wasn't easy. It took a while, especially with 3 kids living in a large home. We had never been in an RV, traveled in an RV, nothing. We just up and decided to do this. So,
and your girls were okay with this?
Yes, they were excited because they saw the excitement that I had. And so it took several months to get rid of all of our stuff.
I can imagine.
Yes, it took a lot. So, and we sold vehicles, we sold, lawn care stuff, trailers, everything. So we did end up having a small storage area, but that was just for like sentimental items that I just couldn't fit in the RV, but I didn't want to part with. And so those definitely brought me joy.
Yes, definitely.
So we did all this and got into our RV. And we started traveling around the United States. We did this for 3.5 years.
Wow.
So
oh, my goodness.
It was an amazing journey. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot about each other.
I can imagine.
Yes, the first few months were a little rough.
Yeah.
Not, it wasn't just immediately like,
adjustment.
yes, happy and
sure.
everything. So if you do decide to go out on this journey, maybe not as extreme as we did, but at least simplifying your life, just know that there will be some adjustments, and that's okay. And we just utilized a lot of help from friends and others that knew this lifestyle and were encouraging to us. So definitely I would recommend getting into groups, talking with others that have experienced this lifestyle, because they can give you lots of good tips and tricks on it. And don't feel bad if you do need other help, like professional help, therapy and stuff too, because a lot of stuff does come up. You don't realize how much we're attached to stuff. And also stuff distract us from people too. You don't realize that you're not focusing on relationships. So a lot of things can come up during this time. So during this process, it is a process of eliminating and restructuring the way you interact with others. And I would encourage, even if you're not ready to get rid of a bunch of stuff, pack it up, put it somewhere else, and see how
you can do without it.
Yes.
Yeah. How
exactly.
Well, when you're in a large house, it's easy to hide from each other.
Yes.
Kids in their room, your
definitely.
husband behind the TV, and you're doing your thing. And in an RV, that's not the case. You cannot hide from one another. So there's some face-to-face realities that goes with this. So it does put you into a totally different relationship with the ones that you're living with.
Yes, definitely.
Beautiful.
Yes, and
now you had to homeschool the girls while you were there. I know one was very small, but
yes, and we still homeschool. We just enjoyed it so much, so
you just kept right on going.
Yes, and it kind of worked with everything that went on over the past couple of years. Homeschooling just kind of flowed naturally too. We are stationary now in a small home, just with everything going on and life and so forth. But our plan is to one day get back out on the road. So things do change, but we did keep a lot of it. We kept a smaller footprint by buying an older home and keeping it small, because we all agreed that we didn't want anything big again. We knew that. So there are some things that have stayed the same and been consistent, and others things that have changed. So yes, we've continued homeschooling, and that can be challenging, but also very rewarding as well. So my oldest had some learning, like ADHD and stuff like that. So for us, homeschooling worked really well with this. And we did for many years what's called unschooling. So we didn't have a set curriculum. We just pulled from what they enjoyed. So that takes a lot too. You have to really be in a good relationship with your children and see what they love and what sparks joy in them too through learning. So you can make that learning process more enjoyable for everyone. So that was
you find you're not fighting to make them learn something they're not even interested in. But more, I guess, more hands-on, more down to earth. What is needed for this moment? What do I need to learn right now to be successful in my future?
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that's missing in some of the curriculum in the public school. It's mostly reiterating what somebody else has taught you, and it's not really learning what you love and what might be your path.
Yes, exactly.
What might actually open up more opportunities for you to explore different ways. Who knows what they want to be when they grow up? Some people do. Exactly. Some children do. A clown. That was one of my grandsons wanted to be a clown when he's 12 now, so I don't think he's going that route. But, we change and we find new opportunities to express ourselves in different ways. So
definitely.
Well, here we are almost into December when we're recording this. It'll probably be closer to December when we do get this out. But talking about this minimalist and living with less, is less more as we approach the holidays?
Definitely, yes. And many of you have experienced that in ways that you may not quite have grasp, but just think about over the past year or two with our shopping, just we've had less choices, and it may have been frustrating, but if you think about it, less choices actually is easier. If you go to your closet in the morning and you have 50 different outfits to choose from, it's very hard and it may take you longer. So less helps your brain focus on other things. So when you go into your closet in the morning, you're not, you're not choosing from that many, you're just choosing from a few. And also with your children, when they go into their room or a playroom, it's a little overwhelming. Children's brains, they don't need that much stimulation. Many kids are overstimulated. So it's good to have toys and stuff to encourage that play, but actually they don't need a whole lot to encourage that play. One of my children's favorite things were just boxes. Like when we were moving.
Have you seen my upstairs closet?
With all the boxes? Yeah. I mean,
those are forks. They're not boxes. Yes. Those are forks and cuddle rooms.
Oh,
the big boxes they like to get in and with their blankets and cuddle.
Yeah,
exactly. Read a story, read a book in a box.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That's one of my children's favorite pastimes too.
What child wouldn't want to play in a refrigerator box?
Yes. That was even
when I was growing up. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. So we don't need a bunch of fancy gadgets and stuff. So coming into the holidays, I just really encourage you to take some time with your child, go into their room or wherever you store their toys, work with them, go through their stuff and see what they really love.
What sparks their joy.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I did with my children, and we still do it now. And my children are very good. If they buy anything out, they get a little allowance each week, and so they save it and they like to go spend it, which is fine. They're learning, but they know, they say, okay, if I buy this, I need to get rid of something, because that's what we did for years in the RV, and we just kept that.
Yeah.
So they know, so they think, is it worth buying something new
to have to get rid of something?
Yes.
Oh wow.
And it's really helpful.
Talk
for them
about
to
flow.
Think, yes, exactly. But it's
flow.
teaching them, and it teaches us too. So that's something that I try to do too. When I look at something and I think, oh, I love that outfit, or oh, I love that pan or something. And I'm thinking, well, do I really need to get rid of any of my outfits, or do I really need to get rid of this pot? They're still nice and I like them. So that's a good rule too, to start thinking about in your house. And it's good to instill in your children. And we're, such a society of just buying stuff and throwing it away.
Very disposable society.
Yes, yes. And just think about all that trash where it's accumulating.
Yeah.
So,
and even the packaging for all of it. It's got to go somewhere, right?
Exactly. So it might be a little bit of a jump, but for years we've been purchasing anything new from a thrift shop or yard sales, or even going on to online like Craigslist and stuff and finding things that are used. My kids have gotten used stuff for years and they didn't complain. No, they've never said a word. They're just excited to receive something.
Yeah.
And it's all how you present it too as well. And also if you have your boxes that you've saved or you get from other people, and you can wrap those up in those boxes too, to just that excitement of opening stuff, because that is exciting.
Somebody's
I have a child that their love language is gifts. So to receive a gift that's
very
what,
important.
yes. And so I've had to learn that too, because, if you think about with the whole minimalism and cutting back on stuff, there are some people that, to do that would be devastating. So just there's other things to get around with it. So if you can think about what people love too, maybe your love language is like gift of service, then that would be, can I help you fold some clothes, or can I help you with your homework or something
or
like that?
babysitting or mowing the lawn or
Exactly.
anything.
So
I've seen people give little tickets or coupons.
Yes.
With services, you
Yes.
can call me anytime for this service. Or
yes, and that's good for adults and children.
Yeah.
So a child can do that. If they don't have money, they can make a little coupon book for adults in their life too.
And we've been through some hard times as a whole world, a global society, with the lockdowns and people losing jobs, and maybe the funds just aren't there this year as they would have. I mean, people are struggling just to maintain their housing.
And
so
food.
Buying a bunch of gifts here at the holiday season just burdens that even more. So thinking about reusing what you've already got, repurposing it. I love doing crafts, and especially if a craft can incorporate something I already have.
Yes.
I love
well,
that.
like your candle that I saw. You
we lit a
repurposed
candle.
a jar from a lotion.
I thought it was cute, so I just
perfect.
Made a little calendar. And there's just so many ways that you can be creative, and that's the fun of the season as well. Just being creative together, holiday cookies and baking and stuff, making gifts for others.
Yes.
And there was this family that I knew that when they celebrated their extended family, they drew names, but you could not buy anything. There was a budget of how much you could buy to make something. Some of the creative gifts that came up, and the camaraderie and the laughter when they opened it. And it was something that the person could use, but it was also a gift of love from the heart. And I think that's what made it so special.
Yes, exactly. It is. It is. And if you're worried about your time, I know many of us are very busy, especially if you're a parent, you have children, you work. It can be hard, and it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be simple. If you're not into crafting or making things, like I said, just, you can peruse stuff online and buy something used. There's lots of those groups and so forth on different online social media apps and
Facebook
so forth.
Marketplace.
All that.
I've bought a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly. So, and, most things can be cleaned up very easily. It's not hard, so you don't have to worry about your children getting things dirty and so forth. So there's many ways to do it. One year we actually, when we were in the RV, we didn't want to, buy a lot of stuff, even used stuff, because we had limited space. We did and we talked it over with the children, and they agreed on it. We did a trip to Disneyland.
Okay.
So you don't even have to do something that extravagant, but even just a little trip.
A day trip somewhere.
Yes.
Hiking.
Instead of
Daphne and I love walking together. We usually walk together at least once a week. And just taking a hike together is so much fun.
And bring
being in nature.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get like pine tree branches and berries and stuff, and make yourself something once you get home. And we like to bring like a thermos of hot chocolate and sit and do a little picnic when we hike. The kids love that. Just something little and simple.
Yeah.
So yes,
it's the meaning behind it. It's the joy of being together, not the gift itself. So I think we've just really gotten into the habit of materialism replacing relationships, and whether that materialism is our heads down in a phone where we don't even have conversation with one another, moving back into family units, community, the village raising the children, where no one is stressed and burdened trying to make the American dream. Maybe the American dream is not such a dream after all. If it's not enhancing your relationships and making you happy, and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels trying to make ends meet, is that really a dream?
I know it is.
And I mean, some people, yes, that is their dream, and that feels good to them. And I say, go for it, do it. be happy with you. Do you?
Yes,
You do you.
exactly.
But if you're really stressed about how things are going to turn out here at Christmas time, and will we be able to keep the old traditions and things like that? Well, you know what? We're in a big transition right now where maybe the old ways aren't the best ways.
Hmm.
Maybe it's time to learn some new ways and move back to basics.
Yes, yes, definitely, especially with having issues with the supplies and so forth. So I think it's a really good idea to step back and reevaluate
Mm-hmm.
how we've been living. And I was having a conversation with someone at work about this too, that I thought that it was actually good for us to learn to not get everything with a snap.
Right when we want
Yes,
it. Entitlement.
It is a good
And getting all bent out of shape
experience.
because your store didn't have your favorite thing. It's like, well,
Exactly.
change your plans.
Yes.
Flow. Learn to flow. Plan B.
Try something new.
Try something
I love that. Like I always, with our food, I try to incorporate something new all the time. My kids love it. There's even, if you're not very adventurous, there's even some subscription boxes that you can get new foods or snacks, and that's a fun thing to do with your family.
Yeah.
Because you know, a lot of people, you know, you don't even eat dinner together anymore. So if you have like this little box that comes once a month, you can gather the family and have fun. And there's a lot that comes up with just trying new things with your family and experiencing that and talking about it. So that's excellent fun to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been looking at tiny houses on YouTube and just really considering, do I need this much house? Now I do when I have company.
Yes.
And, you know, I would like to be able to house more guests. And I have guests coming in for the holiday season, which I'm really looking forward to it. It may get a little tight and a little cramped, but you know what? We'll just work around it.
Yes.
So, you know, I am thinking about it, going tiny. It may not be this immediate upcoming, but I'm kind of moving in that direction.
Yes.
More land, more nature, more outdoors.
Yes.
More being in the woods and playing and building and being with others rather than just sitting in a big house by myself watching TV.
Yeah, exactly.
It just feels like a change is coming.
Exactly. And that's what I felt being in the RV parks. You had smaller space inside, so a lot of times you'd be doing stuff outside. You know, you would eat outside or have a bonfire, and then you would meet other people because everyone was outside. And it was so fun to be able to interact with and have more of a community because so many people have such, I mean, yes, it's nice to have a good, comfortable home, but you know, you never go outside. Maybe you don't even know your neighbor, you know, and when you have a smaller space, it kind of forces you out and about and meeting other people.
I could see that.
So it's very nice.
Well, by the time this comes out, I think we will be safe to reveal, open the curtains and say, we have bought some land. A friend and I have gone in together to buy some land, and we are going to be building there. Lisa's building a tiny home. My son is moving there with us, and he's been living off grid in a school bus that he converted into a home for about a year and a half now. He's been in Indiana, so he's ready to come back to Tennessee, and I'm certainly ready to have my boy back home.
Oh, yes.
A lot closer by. But we're forming that more outdoors and restarting that retreat center like I had at Sweet Home. So.
Yes, getting that good community together.
That's what I missed about when I divorced and moved into the single life. I had to give up the place we had at Sweet Home, which was woods, and I was out every day working in the woods or building something or planting my spring garden. And you move into a subdivision and everything's done.
Exactly.
The house is done. And the yards, it's done other than just mowing the lawn. And so there's not, and you don't want to junk it up. If you're in a neighborhood, you're respectful to your other neighbors that have to look at your creativity.
Yes, exactly.
But I loved hanging things in the trees in the woods and having a music tree and a bottle tree all the time using found objects to make art.
Yes.
And we would go in the woods and get
Yeah.
sticks and make walking sticks and dress
fun.
them up. In fact, we've got
Yes.
some over there in the corner that we made during one of those shaman sticks. We made fairy wands. All the stuff that came off the property.
Yes.
Plus the people that came in to visit, to stay a night, to stay a weekend, to take a class, to offer a class. Maybe they're a practitioner. And I'm thinking that you're going to be part of that as well, coming in with some of the gifts and talents that you have. I know you like to cook, and so maybe sharing some recipes and what else? You could teach birthing classes. Maybe we'll do a podcast on that in the future.
Yes, definitely.
With your background. Yeah. And maybe even teaching people how to make that transition from big to simple.
Yes.
From complicated to simple.
Yes. And also not even relying on things that you can buy at the store for like just your general ailments. You can get from your land or use other things, use food. Food is medicine. Simplify it. You don't need a bunch of, that was another thing. We didn't have space in the RV to store a bunch of bottles of things.
Right.
So you can, use ginger for a headache or menstrual cramps. And you could have ginger to use in the food during the week. So you didn't need, a bottle of medicine. You could just use what you had and use your resources. Yes. So there's things like that I think is very vital for people to know and learn. And that, again, like you said, step back and reevaluate and maybe go back from what we have now and use some of the things that we use so frequently a long time ago. There's things that we've gotten away from. So and if you think about that, that's very easy to do using ginger. And I would love to, teach people how to incorporate that into their food and their lifestyle and so forth. Just in general, that's healing and healthy and involves the family too.
Well, you also, you do Reiki and you have some spiritual gifts maybe that you would share with a group once we get on the land and we've got to build a place to house people. The thing about Sweet Home, when we drove up there and I saw this little building in the back, I'm going, classroom space. Well, we don't have that on raw land, so we're going to have to build something. And so it may be, I don't know how long. Things are moving so fast right now.
It is.
And just dropping into place so amazingly that I'm not even going to put a timetable on it.
Yes, exactly. Well, you were just telling me a few weeks ago that you were not finding the piece of property that you wanted. And then you thought, well, it might take some time. It may take a year or two. And then like the next week you said, I found the perfect one, Daphne. And
we're under contract.
Holy cow.
We're closing November 30th.
So that was just amazing how that happened.
And everything's just dropping into place,
Yes.
When you live in that flow, things just happen. Lisa sold her townhome to be able to do with this. So she's moving from that into an RV on the property to start with, so that she has she's moving in with me this week.
First. Yes.
So that she can transition to, we got to get utilities on the property and connecting her RV there. And then she's going to build a tiny house. We got to build the retreat center, the meeting hall. But, it's just, she was willing to make that sacrifice, and it had already been on her heart. And when we met and shared our visions, it was like, we have been walking parallel lives. Why create this twice? Come together and create it and support one another in a partnership that can be sustainable, and teaching us how to live on the land again and how to be a community and how to be a family with we don't know what the future's holding, so we're creating our own future.
Yes, exactly.
A place that we feel like we can be together in a very loving environment that's supportive.
Yes, and you are bringing it back to the basics and simplifying your life, living a little bit further away from some, grocery stores and stuff like that. So, but you can make it work. And I think if you just open up and be willing to take life and changes, and which we've all learned about changes over the past 2 years. Yeah. And so I think just embracing that and being willing to accept that is such a big thing in life.
Yeah. Well, everything is preparation for something that you're building foundation today for what you want to experience tomorrow.
Exactly.
And even as I look back at the retreat center at Sweet Home, I learned so much.
Yes.
About how to run an Airbnb, how to run a retreat center, how to market that kind of thing, and the flow is just there. And that's the amazing thing when you simplify life and you're not just all the time worried about survival and about meeting the bills and what have you. You get into this flow where things do drop in easily. Lisa and I were out the other day, and she needed boxes. She needed moving boxes. She had used everything that she had, and I said, well, the Walmart's just down the road. We were out anyway, so we dropped in the Walmart with our little happy selves, and we got to go and raise the vibration at Walmart.
Yes.
Empaths, empaths beware, because you're about to be, your vibe is going to be blown away here. And so we separated because I had some things I needed to get, and she had some things on the other side of the store. So she's got these boxes now in her cart, and she can hardly see around them. And she comes around the corner and nearly runs into this guy. And he says, I've got those. I've got exactly what you've got in your cart. And she's like,
oh, wow.
Okay. Like, what is this all about? And he says, no, they're in my car. You can have them.
Oh, wow. Wow. I just got chills with that. It was.
he says, I've got to get something back here in the back. Meet me at the front, and I'll take you to my car. So she goes out to the car, puts her boxes back, goes out to the car, drives around, waits for him at the door. He drives her around to his car and unloads the exact boxes that she was going to buy, that she had in her cart, and put them in her car for free.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes.
Those kind of things have happened repeatedly over and over and over and over in this adventure. And when you're in that flow, it's fun.
Yes, it is. It is.
It's fun.
It's very fun. Yes, and you can tell that was meant to be. When you get those, it's like confirmation of it. Yes, definitely.
She could have been in that store and never seen that guy.
I know.
She hadn't nearly run over him.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Daphne, thank you so much for being my guest today. It's so good to have you here and to get more of your story.
Yes.
The beautiful story. When we share, we find we have so much in common.
Definitely. Yes, I'm very happy to be on here and to share with you as well.
And I'll have you back because you've got multi-talents that you can share. And we'll do some more podcasts.
I'm excited to let everyone know what is up on my sleeve.
Yeah. And being a birthing coach, you can talk more about it and with your RN abilities. You're also not stopping your growth here. You're still in school, bettering yourself and moving on into something that will help to provide even more joy.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I'm a lifelong learner, and that's what my philosophy is with my children too, with the homeschooling and the unschooling, to make learning enjoyable.
Yeah.
So to continue that.
Well, we will be back with more a little bit later. Thank you, Daphne.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Bye for now.